How's it, everybody? Hope you're having a fantastic day. Welcome to How's It Cousins, the podcast where we take a look at the unique people of the world and the things that they do. We talk about it, we relate to it, we have fun with it. Today, we have a special show laid out for you. In studio, we're going to be interviewing someone who is special to me, DJ Julesjuke.
How's it, Chris? Are you interviewing DJ Julesjuke? Yo, I'm totally down on that. Let's do this, man.
Aloha, Alvin. So nice of you pop into the interview.
Yeah, man. It's always good to chill with you. Also, Julie.
But before we get into the interview, I got to remind you guys that we are part of the How's It Network. If you want to check that out, go to howsitnetwork.com so you can see all the cool things we're doing. If you like listening to this show, it's available on all the popular podcast services. Alvin, you got anything to throw out?
Yes, I am Aloha Alvin, and you can find me at alohalvin.com.
All right. Today with us, we have a very interesting person, someone near and dear to my heart. Please introduce yourself, our wonderful guest.
I am Julie, aka Julesjuke.
All right. On today's show, we're gonna play a little game to start off. And I was looking on the internet, and they called this autobiographical words is the name of the game. I really don't fucking know like if that is a real thing or not. But the way it goes, and this is kind of just to break the ice, and so we all can be talkative later, is the way it goes is that we're gonna take turns, and each person is gonna throw out one word. Okay, any word that comes to your mind, somewhere how it like maybe how it would be in your autobiography, but a single word that you can think of. And then the other two people are going to take that word and describe what that word means to them. The answer might be absolutely nothing, and then the first person can kind of go into why they choose that word. You guys get it? Like,
Yeah, I
Not
don't.
sure.
Okay, we'll do. Okay. All right.
Mind you, I have never played this game before,
Okay.
at all. Like, I literally just Googled this yesterday.
So this is a 3-virgin thing, then. That's what's happening.
Absolutely,
Okay, that sounds good.
absolutely.
Okay.
When you said the name of the game, I thought it was something completely different.
I am not convinced that this is actually a game. I just Googled like icebreakers, good icebreakers, and it just happened to show up as a thing, and I'm not sure if it's really a thing.
Okay.
But
Nice.
We'll go with it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And I'll
yeah.
watch you guys first.
Yes. Okay. No problem.
okay, so I'll start off, and then my word, as unsurprising as it may be, because it's the first one I could think of, is baseball.
Okay. All right then. So I'm gonna go first, so that way it doesn't land on Julie. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So for me, baseball. The first thing that comes to mind is always Babe Ruth. He's famous. He's a big name. The thing that I like the most, and I can't stop thinking about it, is how I'm gonna be nice and say out of shape he was. He's a fairly large man, but he was still a contributor.
We don't body shame.
You know,
here, by the way.
no shames.
No shame. We don't body shame on the show.
No shames. But yeah, the idea that he could do what he did, regardless of all, I think he was a smoker. I might have the wrong guy. Was he a smoker? Do you know? He must have been chewing.
Maybe. I don't
Okay.
know.
You know what? It doesn't matter. What I'm getting at is I liked what he represented, and I liked the greatest of all time kind of a label on him. Seems like a good guy. There you go.
I'm just talking about
Baseball.
baseball. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything in which how that would relate to you or what you think?
I
or
think of static electricity when I think of baseball.
Interesting.
So, and has to do with the actual experience I had. So I used to live up in Washington and go to school up there, and we'd go to see what is the Washington baseball team called?
The Mariners.
Mariners, yes. The Mariners, yep. We went to go see the Mariners play, and I don't know if you noticed this, but like the seats up there, they're like made of these really hard plastic. And when you have long hair and you like start having friction against these like plastic, it creates a lot of static electricity. So I remember there was this girl who was young girl. She was like blonde as like blonde could be, and she was like probably 8 years old, and she had been like running and friction all over her, and then her hair would just be like almost like like a mop, like it just like rising up like this from the back of her chair. And this is what I remember because I didn't really watch the baseball game, but I did watch the girl's hair.
For you audio listeners, Julie's making grand hand motions
Yeah.
of static
Yes.
hair.
Yeah, just
like so
like, you know, if you think about someone getting shocked and the hair like going like in like 5 different directions, like that's what it looked like.
That's an over dramatization.
Well,
This is an Albert Einstein haircut. Yes.
Awesome.
that's baseball.
That's your version of baseball.
Nice.
Yes, because
Nice.
I don't watch the game. I just
No, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that.
I-
But you had to go for the experience, right?
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
while there, like Major League Baseball type thing.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I
Okay.
remember the team clearly that they played as well.
Mm.
I know people who go to stadiums just for the food. They have good food there
Yeah.
too. That's a thing.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a thing.
Totally.
People just go for the popcorn and the hot dogs and like those
Yes.
kind of things, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think our nachos are very good. UH nachos. I like those. No, you don't like them? Oh, fine. Whatever. I like them. They're food. Okay. So does this end with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yes.
okay. So I chose baseball. I mean, it relates to me. Like I grew up playing baseball.
Yeah.
Like I know the Little League World Series team that won. Like I know those guys. Like it's kind of, I wouldn't say it's near and dear. Well, I mean, technically, even now, I still play softball. So it's kind of the one thing that, like, from a young age has kind of stuck with me in some way. So it's a good, like, way to keep something going. As you say, like, I don't have to be in great shape to play it now. Like, same
I
thing.
like Babe Ruth. I'm just saying.
The same thing. Like, so yeah, that's something kind of about me.
Is,
Okay,
is baseball
nice.
America's favorite pastime? Is that
That's what they call it.
football?
I don't know if that's. I mean, baseball is America's pastime.
Yeah, that's an interesting point because football, I use the word football and I totally think of American football. And that's how we do it, to my knowledge, a lot of Americans, but that does not fly at all overseas. You say football, they mean soccer.
Correct.
So to me, that feels a little more American, but yes, the pastime officially, I believe, is baseball.
They call it footy, I think.
Is it? Do
yeah,
they?
they call it footy
No,
instead of football.
I didn't know
like,
that.
well, like that's the slang term, footy.
Okay, nice.
I didn't know that.
See, the flip side of that is baseball in Japan, right? That's a thing. Like other countries, I mean,
Oh,
like
yeah,
other
yeah,
countries
yeah.
also have. So
Yeah.
I don't know what's really ours. Yeah.
All right. Do you have a word?
Yes, I do have a word.
Okay.
So the word I'm going to go with is aloha. Good stuff, simple stuff. Would you like Chris to go first?
Yeah, sure, Chris.
Okay.
Go for it.
Let
All
me
right,
think.
go ahead, Chris.
You know what's funny is the first thing I thought of when you said aloha is Aloha Airlines. R.I.P.
okay. Okay, nice.
I mean, not that I flew it all that much, but I know I had before.
Yes.
But Aloha Airlines, or actually, oh no, I got a good one. So you say aloha, I think of Aloha Made, the canned juice. That is something like going to like having a packed lunch for school. If you ever had that, like it's all, I had it when growing up, going to like summer program type thing. I'd have like a little box or something with a sandwich and a cookie or something, and Aloha Made. Maybe not quite what you're intending, but
no,
I mean,
totally. But that's the point. Yes.
yes.
Okay. Oh no, I can't go next. It would be you next, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
So when I hear aloha, and this is going to only be a recent memory because it didn't exist more than like 3 years ago, but there's this mural by Kaka'ako kind of ward area
Nice.
behind where the Whole Foods is. And I don't know who the artist is that painted it, but there's like aloha written in huge words and it's like really colorful. It's like almost like rainbow.
Yes.
And I think of that mural and like the whole powwow movement in general when I think about those murals. So Powwow Hawaii, like Jasper Wong was the guy who started the Powwow Hawaii movement. And it was basically about, taking like street artists who kind of did like street paintings and like having them reinvigorate all the Kaka'ako area with all this really cool art. So like that's one of the things I think about when I hear about aloha.
Okay, so there's a kind of hand that I call Mickey hands. So Mickey Mouse has very unique hands. Yes. Is that the aloha? I saw something with Mickey hands. Yeah. The Shaka Mickey hands I thought it was great. Do you know that? It's one of the murals in like the that area.
I don't know. It's like the one that's behind where the Ashley furniture is.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you know where like the Ross is in Ward?
Yes. Oh, is there one there? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
okay,
like if
okay.
you like
Yes.
continue on the back side of Ross,
Yes.
that's where the mural is.
Nice. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna answer this aloha thing not the way I normally would, which is aloha means love and all that good stuff. I will say one thing I really like about that word is it's multiple things. I think that's cool. There aren't too many words that are hello and goodbye and love and all that. Chris, give me permission to swear. We're good for me swearing?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so fuck is a great word. I've heard that as a joke, but it's true. Fuck applies to so many different things in so many different ways. I think it's awesome. I'm glad everyone's smiling in the room. Moving on. Yes, I like that word. Okay.
Okay, so my word is finite.
Huh.
It's abstract.
Okay, that is abstract. Chris, would you?
Okay. So the joke in me says, I hear finite, I think infinite, like Infinity Gauntlet.
Boom!
Hey!
Okay, nice.
Oh, oh, that was
Thanos
nice.
is turning
Yes.
over in
Yeah.
his to
Yes.
be grave.
I know,
Yes,
seriously.
exactly. Yes.
Oh man, internet's gonna shame me for that one.
Yes.
All right. Finite, I think this might be common, but I think of like your time on the planet being finite, right? Like that, I'd want to, I guess how I'd relate to that is I'd want to, experience whatever I can. I don't even know what that means yet, but whatever it is I can in that amount of time since it's finite, right? That's the one thing when I think of finite, I think of having bounds, right? And time is the one thing that never stops, period. So I think of a finite amount of time as in a finite amount of time that you're going to have to live. Kind of morbid, I guess, but I mean.
I really like that. Well, okay, so the thing that comes to mind for me is very similar, actually, and I'm just going to say goals. And what I mean by that is I like to use this phrase and actually say this, which just sounds weird, but time is finite. Now, that sounds weird because a lot of people would say time is infinite. Time has been on forever and it'll continue forever. But I look at it kind of like the way you're describing it. And for me, it's just goals. Like if there's anything you want to work on, if there's a bucket list of any kind of importance to you, time is finite. If you think about it, every year there's only 52 weekends. If there's cool stuff you want to do on the weekends, in theory, you can only fit 52 per year. You know what I mean? Like, so that just, it feels finite. I mean, it's silly because next year there'll be more weekends, but that's not how I look at it. For me, it's always like a countdown. It's like, what can we fit in? What can we do? What's of importance to you? Stuff like that.
I really like both your answers, and I almost maybe even primed you, I don't know, to talk about time. So, of course, like when I said finite, I also think of time. So, one of the things this morning, I was meditating this morning, and during my meditation session, I was thinking about how my relationships with different people, whether I'm like anxious or like calm around them, actually to me kind of depend on how much finite amount of time that I think they're going to exist in my life. And what I mean by that is that, I can have friends who you two are friends since like elementary school, right? Middle school and stuff like that. And you guys can talk to each other and you feel like, years can pass, but then as soon as you start talking again, it's just like no time has passed at all,
Yes.
right? And I get that sense a lot with some of the people who I, hang out with high school friends. But I feel like as an adult, like sometimes some of the relationships that you have with people, and you're exposed to them not as long, but they feel more finite because I've had less exposure to them, and therefore I kind of feel more anxiety sometimes with people who I don't necessarily think I'm going to have long term in my life. That's kind of a weird way to think of it because like I know that my friends from like high school and like my college friends, they're going to be in my life like a really, really long time. But like sometimes when I think about my coworkers and, like I'm about to like leave for the mainland, right? And I think about my time as finite with them. And like the more and more that I kept thinking that they're going to be short term in my life, I felt more anxious about that relationship. So like to me, like, like thinking about like the finiteness of how long I would keep this person in my life made me think about, like how much stress like this relationship was giving me, which is a really interesting thing because there are some people who I know like for sure, no matter like if I leave, I'll always go back and see and everything. But there are other people in my life who like I don't have that, necessary luxury of, right?
Yes.
So I don't know. It's kind of an abstract topic, but it's something that I was thinking about this morning.
Okay, I gotta chime in on this. So I had past tense a really good friend, and he was a good friend, and I'd call him a grumpy old man. And the reason why I say that is we joked around a lot, and I told him how important he was to me and how incredible a guy he was. And then he passed away. Now I didn't know that, he had health problems, but nothing like that. And then when he passed, it dawned on me because you always hear it in movies and TV, like, man, I should have told that guy how I felt, man, and blah, blah, blah. And like, you know what? No, my friend knew. And it was actually very very like stress relieving for me, knowing that he knew when he passed, after he passed, whatever. He knew how I felt. There was no regret there. Now, I don't know if that applies to what you're thinking, but yeah, like I would hate to look back and be like, man, if I just told him even once, like, no, I told him. He knew.
Yeah.
You know, it's a good thing. Yeah.
All right. No, that's excellent. And now we all feel like we know each other.
Yeah,
Oh,
totally.
No.
Yes.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for staying tuned for our first section. We'll be back. All right, and we're back for the second segment of our show. And for today's big topic, let's start with Julesjuke. Where does that come from, and what is it all about?
Okay. So Julesjuke started, I think, in maybe 2012 time, but it's my DJ pseudonym. But I've actually had two like names prior in my DJ career. So I actually started off as a radio show host for my university at Puget Sound. It was a show called The Mixdown. And I had the Friday night 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. time slot where I played like electronic music. It was mostly like trance and kind of dance and sometimes techno music. And the reason I called the show The Mixdown was this was in 2009. I had interest in tons of different electronic music genres, and I didn't want to stay pigeonholed in one genre. So I would just play like 4 or 5 different genres over the course of my hour. And I just like let it be the Mixdown because it was like not staying to any one show, because I didn't want to like theme my show under trance or, and then it not be trance music that I was playing. So yeah, I originally like for the first, I want to say 3 or 4 years of my like DJing, which I didn't really play out at that point. I was playing maybe house parties and I would be on the radio or whatever. I was called The Mixdown, and I had like a website and everything like that. Wow. And I would post up my mixes on that, and don't go look for it. It's real bad.
Does it still exist to this day?
Yeah, it still probably exists.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Or something you might not.
Maybe I took it down. Maybe in like a smart move, I took it down. I don't know.
Couldn't have been that bad.
No, I mean, it wasn't the worst, but like, as you DJ more and more, you just get to hear all the like things that you screw up on, and it just drives you crazy. Even though like most people won't even like notice it, but if you like DJ a lot, you'll just like, oh my god, I can't believe I messed up on that.
Do you have an example of something like that that would like something you would have heard before, like that maybe now? I mean, that you did before that if you heard now, you'd be like, oh, I don't like that. Oh, yeah. I mean, all the level stuff. So, like, it's really sort of a noob thing to mix in a song that's too loud, with the one that's softer. Yes. Or, like, so, like, all of a sudden your levels change, right? Or when you bring out a song, because, like, normally when you're playing 2 songs, right, there's a point where you're transitioning and you hear both songs at the same time, but then you're bringing out the other song, right? Okay, so you're a song's playing, you're bringing in one, and you're bringing out the first one. Right, you bring out the first one, and then when you bring out the first one, all of a sudden, like the audio, like the levels drop, like so the volume, everything more or less drops, right? So that's like a really like noob mistake that I used to do a lot when I was first mixing. And there's a term called train wrecking, which is basically when you don't sync the beats correctly of the 2 songs. So then you just hear, so more or less the drums are like kind of, alternating hits. And that's pretty common. And like things like that. I mean, and you'll correct it right away, but like most, professional DJs, or if you've been DJing for a long time, won't really have a lot of train wrecking, like audible. Yeah. So, but yeah, so I mean, getting to the point of Julesjuke. So when I was working at my first company in Hawaii, there was a guy I used to work with who was like really into trying to be a promoter, right? He wanted to start this like K-pop night locally, or like it never started off as K-pop, but it eventually became this K-pop night thing. And so he's like, Julie, I want you to DJ. And I was like, first of all, Robert, I don't like have any knowledge of K-pop songs or J-pop songs. I wouldn't even know what to play for this thing. But secondly, like I don't really like have like a DJ name, like because I had a radio show name, right? That was like the show I had in college, but I never really had like a DJ persona because I always just thought of myself as like someone who just really liked music and not necessarily like as a DJ. And so after a while, like we brainstormed a bunch of things, and his were just really terrible suggestions, I want to say. But eventually, I decided that I wanted to use something that was kind of part of my own name. So Jules is like Julie, and like my basketball coach when I was little used to call me Jules all the time. So Jules kind of like has a nice ring to it. And then I like alliteration, so Juke
was like jukebox. So I kind of just like wanted to be Julesjuke, and that's how the name came about.
Interesting.
So I've heard horror stories from people in the music industry about like how, I guess, producers or somebody wants them to change stuff. So, okay, so Linkin Park, they were told, I want you to wear a cowboy hat and I want you to wear a lab coat. Just ridiculous. So my question to you now, especially with the names, were you ever told, we don't like Mixdown or we don't like Jules or anything like that? Was there ever an ask or anything like that for you to change a name or anything to redo or anything like that?
No, not to change the name. Actually, really interesting story though. How I connected with like one of my cool music friends who lives up in Tacoma, Washington now. But he actually used to be a DJ at KTUH, and literally at the same time as I had my show up in UPS, he had his own show on KTUH called The Mixdown.
Fascinating.
Yeah, like crazy,
yeah.
right? But we played vastly different genres of music. He was into hip hop. I was into electronic music and like, you know, kind of dance music. And when I came back to the island, I wanted to get back into radio stuff, you know, because I didn't really have a, you know, real DJ gig. And like radio is kind of like the easier thing because I can pre-plan what I want to play and not really do so much stuff on the fly. So I had contacted KTUH on their Facebook page and I just like wrote them a message. I was like, hey, I am Julesjuke. Or actually at that time, I don't know if I had Julesjuke used or not, but I was like, I used to be a radio DJ up at KUPS and I'd be really like interested in trying to do something at KTUH, like if I would volunteer for you guys or whatever. So I wrote them this thing, trying to kind of get my foot in the door there. Yes. And my friend Jake, who's now my friend, right? He saw this message on Facebook. And at that time he was already an alumni of UH, right? But he saw this message and then he like randomly messaged me on Facebook. and he's like, hey, I saw your message on Facebook to KTUH, and I used to have a show called The Mixdown too. And so like we like literally, he's just like, do you want to meet up and talk about music stuff? And so I was like, okay, sure. And so and so literally like this guy, you know, like didn't know anything about him, but I consider him a really good friend now. Like we just like, you know, had the same radio show name, and then we just like started to talk about music. And later on, he would come back from the mainland to Hawaii, and he would do these, they're called alumni shows at K2H, where basically if you're an alumni DJ, you can kind of go to the alumni slot and play music. And so he invited me onto his alumni slot show for like a couple times. So we played as like the Mixdown or whatever.
Wow, yeah. That's really cool. So for those listening who don't know, KTUH would be the radio station for the University of Hawaii, where KUPS is that for the University of Puget Sound. Just to make that clear. But no, these are college radio stations that are pretty common throughout the, you know, many college campuses throughout the United States. Was it common, do you think, for these college radio stations to be manned, featuring like college students as the radio personalities or DJs?
That's the whole point, right? So like they're nonprofit radios and they're more or less supposed to give students an opportunity to kind of like learn about radio and different aspects of, you know, management of like being on air. So like the first thing that you do before you can even get a show, right, is you take a test. And the test is more or less around the FCC rules, right? And there's 7 supposedly swear words, sin words that you're not supposed to say on air.
George Carlin.
I know you can swear here, but like I'm not going to repeat them. But yeah, you have to learn all this.
I might have to ask you to repeat them. This is not the radio. No, you don't have to if you don't want to. That's okay.
Okay.
If anyone online wants to find them, Google them, and maybe we will later.
The 7 sin words,
Yes.
Right. Yeah. And so you take a test, those are one of the things you have to learn about. You have to learn about other things, but that's the thing that sticks out of my head. But yeah, so I mean, even before you get onto the air, you have to like kind of like learn about this gear, and then like you have a manager. So at KUPS, which is my radio show at school, people played primarily music, but there were people who had talk shows like this, and they did interviews with people, and they interviewed professors, or they interviewed different local kind of celebrities or whatever that came into town, or even alumni, like alumni who got famous or whatever. One of my managers, he actually brought in a professional DJ and he interviewed a professional DJ. And I actually got to sit in with their interview. So he just like emailed a bunch of DJs in Washington and was just like blindly just cast out the net. And it's like, hey, I do this radio show. Do you want to come and talk about your profession and stuff like that? And this one guy, his name was Khadija Streets. He responded and he's like, yeah, I'll come on. And so he like came on, he did a little set, and then like we interviewed him, and it was like a really cool, super low key interview, right? He talked about more or less, because like when you think about the separation between just like a bedroom DJ, which is someone who doesn't really like play out, right, and a professional DJ who actually makes a living off of DJing, you think it's like this massive gap, right? But like for him, he says like even as a professional DJ, unless you're like Avicii or like those guys selling out stadiums, sometimes you're playing to dance floors that are like 10 people, right? Not like huge crowds, right? Especially if you're playing the stuff that you really like. I mean, if you're going to play top 40s, yeah, you're probably going to be in a bigger club. But sometimes like, you know, especially electronic DJs, or when you're playing really obscure music, you're playing to a group of 10 people who like just really like that or whatever, or just happen to be in a lounge and listening to you. So you kind of see all these different walks of life. And if you can just play something that one person really likes and they are interested because of that one type of genre or, you know, song that you know, have played, then, you know, might have enlightened them on to different types of music. I remember taking that away from the interview with him.
Okay, I have a question. So let's say a percentage of what you do is what you like, and then a percentage of what you do is what other people like top 40s or whatever. Is that like 50-50 for you? Do you play mostly what other people ask, or what is that?
It depends on the event, right?
Okay.
So if someone's asking me to come onto their radio show or like their podcast and make the mix for them, I'm usually going to play stuff that I like, right?
Oh, okay.
If I'm playing a wedding, if I'm playing maybe even at a club or a venue, I'm going to play stuff that I think will more likely fill a floor than necessarily what I will necessarily like. But I kind of like to blend a lot of the old school stuff. So in general, like I'm a 80s, 90s baby. So like I love bringing all the throwback stuff in, even though it's like not Beyonce
right.
or like Bruno Mars or whatever, right? But like I'll bring in like the TLC and I'll bring in like the P Diddy, right, from old school or whatever it is, Return of the Mac, whatever.
Yes,
I don't know, 90s
that too.
stuff.
You know, there's a song I cannot name, but it goes hand clap 5 times, step back 5 times, or whatever. My God, that's like every wedding ever. It's ridiculous.
I've never played that at a wedding.
Thank you. It's always
Turn to the left.
Yeah. Turn
to the right.
Yes.
That and the
All the
electric
time.
slide.
Yes, electric slide.
Do you play the electric slide?
No.
Wow.
But here's
You are not a true
well,
wedding
here's the thing. Hang on though.
Okay.
When you're playing a wedding, you kind of want to cater to the couple, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
I normally ask them like, what kind of stuff do you want to hear? And like, if there's like a no list, then I won't play anything on their no list.
And you're saying that nobody requests the electric
That's
slide
what I wondered
at your
too. I didn't
wedding?
want to. I thought the same thing.
seriously?
Right? I know, right?
Wouldn't anyone want their parents on the dance floor to do the electric slide at their wedding?
Well, I mean, like, I feel like there's other songs that you could play that would get people on the floor. in similar
there are.
fashion.
I'm just saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'd be like, oh, I don't have that song.
Oh, nice.
Do you
Good save.
do you just not
Good
have the
save.
electric slide?
I honestly don't. I honestly don't have the electric slide
that's
in my
funny.
library.
Okay, nice.
But if someone really wanted me to play it at their wedding, I would, because it's about making them happy, right?
yeah, totally.
I agree.
Nice. Okay.
So did you actually play that K-pop, J-pop show?
Ooh,
Let's get back to that
yes.
story. Yeah. Let's jump back
Yes.
into that one.
Let's see. I can't actually. I don't think I did. Like, I ended up chickening out and not doing that show with him because, like, I told him, I was like, Robert, I don't even know what they're saying. You know,
True.
in the
That's a
lyrics,
good
right?
point.
They could be like talking
That's a good
about
point.
like going, I don't know, pedophile on the dance
Porn.
floor. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Whatever, you know, like, or
Guns.
whatever.
Axe murderer.
Yeah.
Yep. Could be anything.
So and I
Dicks,
was like,
whatever, take your pick.
I mean, it's
Whatever.
probably not that, but
Yes.
I didn't know what was going on, so I was like, I have to respectfully decline. It's not really, and you know the thing about. So actually, what I really do like about DJing, especially DJing events that I'm not comfortable with, is actually getting outside of my comfort zone and listening to genres that I'm not super familiar with. This past couple years, I've started DJing at yoga events, and I typically don't listen to a lot of really ambient and chill out kind of music. But because I had to start DJing these yoga events, I had to like up my collection of all this kind of music.
Yes.
So like I actually like when I first started to DJ this stuff, like binged, searched all kinds of like, you know, ambient, chill out yoga music stuff. And I even asked some of my friends who are like yoga instructors, like, what are songs that you like to play? And it's like really interesting, not only to like expose yourself to that body of music, but also to like kind of analyze that type of music and like how it fits the energy of like what you're playing. So for yoga and like very, you know, kind of meditative type of music, you obviously want something that doesn't have a lot of energy, right? Something that's pretty beatless, something that is really easy to listen to, that, you know, you're not going to get your heart pumping on, right?
Enya.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. I assume you would go no lyrics though.
Yeah, a lyric list is usually better. Yeah. So like it's really interesting though, like when you have to play these genres outside your comfort zone, what you learn about the genres. And I think that's one of the cool things about kind of being a DJ, is that as long as you're open to kind of like trying to like put yourself out of your box, then you can like learn a lot about different genres of music. And you might find that genre might fit well in another type of mix that you're making, you know?
What you're saying kind of is, you know, when people think of DJ, you think of either A, your radio DJ, or B, your club DJ. But really, it seems to me that it's more like the love of music, but also the love of the layers behind music, or what it stands for, what it means to people. Is that kind of...
Yeah, and so like to me, there's really different types of DJs too, right? So the kind of DJ that I am is like the crate digging kind of. I like to find as much music as I can and like expose that kind of DJ. I'm a big crate diver, and I'm not really interested in producing music myself, but like I like finding other people's music and like playing that, you know?
Okay.
But there are other kind of DJs where the more producer types of DJs, right, where they want to create the music and play something that's closer to what they actually create, and like playing live, almost like, right? There's like a lot of DJs now who have their own kind of MIDI setup where they're playing live, more or less, like certain stems and like affecting filters while they're playing. And that's more like live DJing than typical like DJing that people think about. But there's also, but there's right. Well, I'm thinking more like maybe like what's Deadmau5? Like he does more like live DJing stuff now, right? Okay. And lots of techno DJs definitely do a lot of like the live DJing kind of, or live setup kind of gigs. But then there's also like scratch DJs, right? So like I'm not a scratch DJ at all, right? There's the hip hop guys who like true turntablists, and these guys like grew up watching and cutting their teeth on you know, like those DMC and everything like that, right? Where they just like saw, and I think that's crazy. I think that's a skill like I wish I had. Like I'm not a scratch DJ personally, but like I tried to learn at one point. I actually know how to DJ on vinyl, but I'm not a scratch DJ. Okay. But like you just practice that kind of movement over and over. And so there's really like different categories of DJ, and depending on like what craft best suits you, you know, like I think you kind of move toward that. The DJs that I personally like admire the most are like, one, the crate digging DJs, but also I really love like the live set DJs, because it's really like taking your own music at that point and kind of playing it on the fly. And I think that's like super cool. I've seen some really cool performances of people doing live DJing.
I think I've always been a fan of exactly what you're describing. I remember in Vegas, a few years ago, and we were at New York, and occasionally they have a live DJ in the middle of New York, and it was this maybe like, you know, tiny girl actually, and she was wearing it was around St. Patrick's Day. She was wearing a, you know, green like leprechaun type hat, and I really appreciate the blending of, I guess, song to song. And, you know, when they bring out one that, like, you know, from your, like exactly what you're saying, from your heyday, and, you know, and that comes on, you're like, hey, you know, like it's a big thing. It elates like a certain kind of feeling, you know, like the nostalgia wave, as one would call it. So I think that's super cool, and definitely can see what you're trying to get at.
You know, there's a time where, like, so if I'm at a party or at a wedding, I'm sitting there, of course there's music playing, whatever, right? But then there's that one song, oh, it's on, I gotta go. I'll be right back. I gotta go dance right now. You know, like, that's an awesome feeling. Yeah. I feel like I'm being summoned to the dance floor. You know?
And it's cool. The cool part of it, I found it even cooler. Not if you're just playing a, you know, song to song, but, you know, like actually mixing them through. Like, you know, when you can hear that, oh, this one's sped up a little bit, then it's playing, then you slow it back down to its normal pace. Then you get your nostalgia feeling again, right? So
that's gotta be hard. Changing tempo on the fly to mix things together. I mean,
I mean, like that's the whole concept of DJing, right?
Okay,
Is that
cool,
like songs
okay.
typically aren't in the same like BPM or like
Oh.
tempo more or less, and you just change them. So you change them before the audience is hearing them, right?
Oh, okay.
You like cue them up in your headphones, and you're making them more or less beat match. And then when you actually like play it for the audience, you know, it's like supposed to be in tempo. But there's like tons of different types of mixing styles. Like if you're a hip hop DJ, you're gonna be doing more cut style mixes, which is more like I'm gonna stop the track right away and start the one right on the one. Versus like if you're playing more like a house DJ or techno DJ, you're gonna like blend the songs together and like have them playing at the same time and almost create a new track by the two of them playing, you know, kind of like dancing with each other.
Okay, I have to say right now I'm nodding my head, but I just leveled up like 20 times. I didn't know any of that. That was very cool. Interesting. Okay.
Here we go. Just educational every
Yes.
single day. There you go.
Nice.
Now you know a little more about it.
Okay, so I have a question for you. So of course, you know, there's that thing where you see the party, you decide on a song. Okay, three of us right here. You know what this group needs? This song. Okay, what song is that? Is there a song that comes to mind? Just this vibe, this feeling.
Oh, this
Yeah, like right now.
this-
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, no, he's putting you on the spot.
Yeah, I am. I'm just curious.
Oh, that's a good. I like it. I like that.
Oh well, like because it's like all like local stuff. I feel like you
Okay.
play like Hawaiian stuff. Like for this particular, like I don't know. Like I feel like you always say Raja or whatever, right? So,
True.
Always say
RGR, 3 letters. Yes.
I don't always say that.
but like I kind of get like the skankin' Hawaiian like
okay, cool.
kind of vibe right now. I don't know.
Very
That's what I would
friendly.
throw. Like something kind of chill and like kind of just like more like you know.
For those not familiar with the term, skanking is not derogatory here. Just FYI, just to throw that out there. We do not try to
Like throwing
discriminate.
some Bob Marley, you know.
Okay, nice. Yeah.
Interesting.
See, I can see skanking to that. Okay, so skanking is like it's like a slow run. It's a dance. I call it a slow run. I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah, sure.
It's like running in slow mo,
Yeah,
but it's
sure.
a dance. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bob Marley. Okay. Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
Interesting. I like that. Cool.
Maybe it's just because we're local. I don't know.
Okay. What purchase of I guess around or under $100 have you ever made that you feel has had the greatest impact on your life?
Doesn't have to be related to DJing, or it should be related to DJing.
Not necessarily.
Well, I'll relate it to DJing since I mean that seems to be the topic. Under $100.
I mean, like give or take.
Okay, well, it's not under 100, but it's about maybe like $150.
Okay.
And that's literally my Sennheiser headphones. So like
Oh.
I've had these headphones for over 10 years. It was like one of the most expensive things I bought back then.
You know what that $150 headphones are? It's just nothing today.
I know, it's
right?
a
I know,
drop
isn't
in the
that
bucket,
crazy?
right?
That's crazy.
That's
but
absolutely nothing today.
But like this is like so these are like the DJ standard headphones, right? It was like the HD 25s, I think Mach 2 or whatever, I don't know. But and I literally still have these headphones.
nice.
Like I've been DJing with them since college. They have really good isolation. But like I don't know, this one piece of gear changed me like mentally because with them I suddenly felt like a DJ. Like I mean, because gear is one thing, right? Like you can keep buying things and switching them out, but like when you have these headphones on, they have such good isolation that like you can like mix in blaring, like the room can be blaring like 30 decibels or whatever, but you won't hear that because in those headphones you're only hearing just it's queued up channel to hear, right?
So you're saying is if I was wearing those right now, I would not be able to
You
hear
would not be
speaking
hearing
like
the
how I
double
can.
talk.
Nice.
I wouldn't be able to
So I
hear.
would suggest to you your first purchase or after you upgrade the mic is Sennheisers. They're really good studio monitors too.
Interesting. So for any aspiring musician types or DJs out there, invest in good headphones early because apparently it
makes
pays
sense,
off.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean like
Yeah. And you feel like cool because you can like pull them off one side and then you can just like wear the one side, right?
Nice. Okay.
all right.
Okay, you know what? You talked about headphones, so I have to ask, especially when you mentioned the price. So Beats, I see it on TV, I see it in movies. Is that a thing? I know Chris is literally wearing Beats right now. So my question to you is, yeah, I love those. Worth the price, or no, man, you should buy something else.
Well, I mean, I've honestly never listened
wow.
to the Beats before.
Wow.
This is gonna like probably like people are gonna talk bad about me because of it. I mean, to me, it's like a little bit, you know, like the name brand kind of
It is.
thing. Like
It
it's like people
definitely
buy it
is.
for the brand. I don't know how it really sounds. Like if I were to like pick a few brands, there's some Japanese like headphone makers that like are just out of this world, and like you get the drivers on those things are crazy. So I'm a little bit of an audiophile, like in that sense of like the gear that I listen to. But I mean, I think people go for it, the aesthetic too, right? So that's the thing.
true.
It's very like recognizable. And so like, if you're like on the street wearing your Beats or whatever, people are gonna think that you're listening to hip hop or, whatever it is. But
That's what. Okay, but I have to say this. I've seen people wearing what I thought were destroyed earphones just to look cool or stupid for fun. Essentially, it's the earbuds but with no cord. And I'm like, man, that guy's a jackass. What is he doing? So apparently, that's the new thing. that's how out of touch I was.
But wait,
are those good? I mean,
like
AirPods?
wireless,
Yeah.
wireless.
Do you know the name of them? I don't.
AirPods, right? Like Apple.
AirPods.
Yeah, I mean, so I mean, I have a set of Bluetooth
okay.
headphones. Like I use them like when I run. And the main
Yes,
thing is
yes.
like people use them now because all the new iPhones you can't get your
that's
audio
what you
jack
can't
in. them.
Jack in. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Or
Yes,
like if you
yes.
do, you have to like have an extra adapter.
Yes.
So like everyone has gone toward the Bluetooth thing, and I don't know the math and like the physics around if it actually is better or not. Like in theory, like what makes the most difference is like the drivers in your headphone. But I have to also think that if you're using like radio wave frequencies to get something to your head instead of like actual like physical connection, it's going to be worse. But then again, like we're streaming freaking the internet, right? And the internet is 10 times more like data than
There is
like
Wi-Fi
sound.
everywhere.
That's
Our
weird
brains
and
are
true.
fried.
That is true though.
So yeah.
I worry about my sperm count. Okay, moving on.
So yeah,
yes,
I mean, I think that it could be as good. I mean, as just wired headphones. And it's way more convenient if you just don't have a jack.
Wait, you know what? I have to ask someone who knows music so well. There's this thing apparently where I think there's no buds and it goes through your bones in your head. I swear that someone. Is that real? I've heard of that.
I don't know what it's called, but I have heard. There's like it's able to the vibration would kind of go through and you get
ridiculous.
sound. Yeah, I've heard of that.
Have you heard of that? Do you know anything?
Do you know what it's called? Like
I don't
who
know the
built that?
name. It's something. It was cutting edge when I heard about it.
I think that's just more like fringe technology than like audiophile.
So we're not
type
there.
Stuff.
Okay.
Like it's more like you're saying the Bluetooth AirPods and things like that. That's just more is a convenience factor.
Okay,
type
true,
thing,
true.
right?
That is true.
Less of an audio thing, more of a convenience factor.
That is true.
So to dial it back for a second,
Okay.
these Beats headphones that I happen to be wearing, we are not sponsored by Beats, mind you. These are borrowed because I don't actually own noise canceling headphones on the norm. But that being said, in my research of noise canceling headphones, because I'm looking for some, Beats actually do not rank very well.
Fascinating.
From people that are like audio engineers and audiophile type people. I don't remember the reason as to why, but it is partially on the price because what you're paying. I mean, I'm not going to say you're paying for the brand, but you are
to a degree, of course,
right?
Of course, yes.
You're paying for the Colin Kaepernick commercial or take your pick, right?
Yes.
But
Quicksilver.
yes, exactly. For the price, it's not as good as other headphones. And to be completely honest, I don't remember which series this is. I think it's the Solo, and I don't know if it's Solo 2 or whatever. But there's a reason why I don't like these, in that these are actually Bluetooth as well. But when I unplug, for those audio listeners, I'm listening to our sound with a pair of Beats headphones that's plugged in with a 3.5 millimeter jack, right? Right now, if I unplug the jack, the headphones turn off, which is okay, right? However, if the battery dies, the noise canceling / Bluetooth battery dies, and I plug them in with a 3.5 millimeter jack, I hear nothing.
Wow.
These specific headphones have no pass through.
Fascinating.
Yeah. So I actually don't like them. So I don't plan on buying this type of headphone for myself.
Yeah.
Sure.
The ones I was looking at, it's an actual advertised feature that these headphones still work even when they're dead. Like you can plug them in and they still work.
Yeah.
So
that's a great point. Like that's actually one of the reasons why for a super long time I never went to like wireless type setups, is because like it dies.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
and you don't want to have to wait for that thing to charge before you use it. Whereas like something wired will always work.
Exactly. So that's why I'm kind of leaning. I mean, there's a couple I'm looking at, and maybe in a future show I'll describe like what I end up getting. But yeah, that's kind of a big feature for me, in that like the headphones don't die when they do die, I can still plug them in and use them. Even though maybe the noise canceling won't work, I can still use them as headphones.
I was gonna say, I'm not really a headphone guy. I don't know all that stuff, but I know for mice, like a mouse, wired versus wireless, big difference. There's sometimes simplicity helps too.
Well, I mean, a lot of
so I know that feeling.
Like a lot of pro gamers and stuff with talking about that, like swear by wired
They
mice.
still go to the
Yeah.
old school. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
See, so
Well, I don't know. That's one thing I will actually disagree with. I'm a big
like
wireless mouse fan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, again, the reason for that is latency.
Oh, actually, well, not only.
True,
Well, yeah,
yes.
if you're a gamer,
for gaming,
Yeah,
yes.
but
yes.
actually, this is unrelated. Okay, okay, I have a better
okay.
answer now
Go
to
ahead.
the $100
Okay.
question.
Go
Okay,
ahead, go
Okay.
ahead.
the best investment I made, unrelated to DJing.
That's fine.
Hands down, the MX Anywhere mouse. This freaking
Oh.
thing works on any. No, that's not the Anywhere
It's
mouse.
the marathon, I think.
No, so the
Okay.
Anywhere mouse basically works on any surface type,
Oh.
glass.
I had one of
Like,
those too.
oh,
Glass,
it's like that
wow.
freaking thing changed my life. Like hands down, my favorite. It's like $60, but like I like swear by it. Like it's,
Wow. Okay.
I can like be like, you know, on a couch and
Yeah,
like
yeah.
using my mouse. I could be
Trippy.
like on a glass table and I can be on the wall using the mouse. It's like the best thing. It really is.
I had
I've never
one,
heard of that.
No, I had one and
Yeah.
it broke.
Oh.
I mean, my fault. I spilled like water on it or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had one before, and then I ended up getting the marathon mouse since. But yeah, no, I agree. That thing's awesome.
I've never heard of that mouse. I'm very impressed. That's cool.
You should
Yeah.
look it up.
Yeah,
I know, I
they're,
never heard
they're
of
on
that. That's
iteration
cool.
3 now. So
Cool.
I
Okay,
mean, it's
okay,
even
nice.
better supposedly.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Works on glass was kind of cool.
Yeah.
That is cool. I've never heard of
Yeah,
that either. Yeah.
that
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
I never had a surface it never worked on. So it's
Nice.
amazing.
Nice. Okay.
All right. We're going to be moving into the third segment of our show, something that we're going to be dubbing for now until we get a better name, the lightning round, in which our guest is going to be answering some sourced questions. I will fully admit that these are from a series that I have been admiring over the past few months, and it's called Pockets Full of Soup by one of my favorite content creators, Jared Petty. You can check out his stuff over at patreon.com/Jared Petty. Go give him some love over there. But Julesjuke, we will have you answer a few lightning round questions. No pressure at having to do this quickly or anything like that. But give us your best answer and we can talk about it too along the way. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm just gonna use the same answer every time.
What?
Okay. I have a rod to shock her with whenever she does that. So yeah. Okay.
All right.
I did not agree to that.
No, she did. She signed the
There's no
waiver.
consent.
She signed the
Not
waiver.
consent.
Internet viewers, there is actually no shocking going on. We are not actually torturing people on the show.
Okay.
All right, lightning round. Ready? What's the best song written in the last 100 years?
Oh man,
Wow.
what the hell?
Wow.
You started with
Seriously,
that?
wow.
Are you serious?
You're a
Man,
DJ.
that's like an avalanche.
No, that's like asking like yeah, any DJ like what's your favorite song? Yeah, that's man.
wow.
Just
Wow.
what comes to mind? What's the best? It doesn't even have to be your favorite. What's the best song written in the last 100 years?
Can we come back to that one?
That's a good one.
Can
That's a good
like
point. That's a
have
good
a, like
Okay,
a
okay,
like a Pasco?
okay. What's the first word you think of when you hear your own voice?
Oh, annoying.
I know that.
What's your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Green tea.
Green tea.
Nice.
That's a different one than most
Yeah,
people would
it's
normally
nice,
pick.
nice.
But that's indicative of you, I think.
Nice.
If you could travel through time to meet anybody, who would you meet?
Travel through time. Actually, I'm more obsessed with meeting someone of the current like year than necessarily
okay.
someone in history. But if I were to pick someone, so if it were someone like in this current decade or whatever, and like living now, there's a psychologist called Esther Perel. Esther
okay.
Perel. She does like couples counseling stuff, but she wrote a book around like how marriages and like divorces and stuff like that in this day and age have what it means like in the internet age of a lot of
Okay.
this stuff, and like
Okay.
how like when people like go through affairs or all that stuff, it like really racks like their identity. But like she like is like a beacon of things to learn about communication, and I really like her thoughts, and to have a conversation with her I think would be really fascinating.
Okay.
But if it were someone who has already passed on, there is I don't remember his name. Aaron Schwartz. So he actually committed suicide. I think, which internet startup thing was he a part of? He started some internet company in the .com boom, and got really rich and famous.
Oh,
and,
okay.
like really smart and guy, like tech, quote unquote hacker,
Yes.
kind of guy. But he at one time was involved with some of the WikiLeaks stuff,
Okay. I get you.
and
Interesting.
he released a lot of documents. And he used to write a blog, and I used to read his blog, and I found it really inspirational because like he would talk about kind of overcoming like certain amounts of depression and like difficulty in his life. But later on, he ended up like committing his, taking his own life. And I would be like curious to like have a conversation with him, like obviously before he
what happened?
Yeah, like what was going through his mind that actually made him like kill himself. Because I feel like there's a lot of it feels like he was a huge loss to the world, like his especially in the tech community, but even like just like in his philosophies on things. He used to like read a ton of books and like kind of just like en masse kind of write in layman's terms about these concepts and philosophies. But yeah, Aaron Schwartz.
Nice.
There's like I think a documentary on him too.
Interesting.
Yeah, nice.
What's the most terrifying creature in the natural world?
Oh man.
Cockroaches.
Oh, nice. Wait, I need to say this because we all live in Hawaii. So what I've been told by people who don't live here is that they have normal sized roaches and that we confirmed have gigantic roaches, which we do. And they fly and they're gross. Yeah.
But like literally my biggest fear in life is to like be put in a hole, just like have buckets and buckets of insects thrown on you and die that way. Like
just roaches though, or anything.
Well, I mean, roaches would be hella really bad, but like scorpions or any kinds of bugs, just like, oh my God, imagine it going into your crevices.
Oof.
I didn't want to, but now that I have, thank you. I just thank
so
you.
Now you can
that.
share in
Thank
my
you.
fear with me.
Appreciate that.
Cake or pie?
Oh, pie.
Any type in particular?
No, just pie.
What is the best sandwich?
Best sandwich. Jeez. I feel like I'm kind of lame because I eat all the same sandwiches all the time. The best sandwich is good old grilled cheese. Yeah.
Okay,
it's not
nice.
something I'll eat very often, but I feel like, like that's a good classic.
Okay, I want to add to that. So I was with my friends. We're out late, so of course it's Zippy's because nothing else is open. And then we're getting food. And then two of them ordered grilled cheese. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? This is, you could order all kinds of stuff off this menu. And I'm like, you guys are just dumb, right? Because I don't understand. And then one day I'm like, maybe I'll get grilled cheese. And it was like the best fucking sandwich I ever had.
Right.
And I felt bad. No, I don't really eat grilled cheese, man. I don't.
Zippy's has grilled cheese.
Yes,
and it's the best fucking grilled cheese ever.
You know what?
Next stop,
It was a delicious grilled cheese. It was. I was impressed. It was also midnight munchies. You just hungry at that time.
I get it. Like,
It was delicious.
For those listeners who don't know, Zippy's is like a fast food equivalent restaurant in Hawaii, which does have good food, but I just don't imagine that grilled cheese would be one of them.
Okay, wait. Asterisk here. I have not had that many grilled cheeses. So maybe that's part of it. But what I had was ooey gooey melted cheese on bread. It was delicious.
Yeah, I don't know. You gave me a thing like best sandwich ever, and then like I was like, whoa, man, there's like all the toppings in the world, and then I was like, let's just go simple, classics, right?
That is classic.
Nothing's
That is
wrong with the grilled cheese sandwich. I think it's great.
Yes.
And, maybe it's with some tomato soup.
Yeah.
Good stuff. I'm just saying, I can't believe that the fast food chain restaurant of Hawaii.
Hey, they're
has the
slightly
best grilled cheese.
above fast food. Slightly.
Slightly. I mean,
they're good. I like Zippy's.
I like it too,
Yeah,
but it's the equivalent of fast food here. That's all. I mean, it really is. What is one movie that everyone loves that you just don't get?
Everyone loves. I'm probably gonna get a lot of flack for this.
Yes.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be like one of those like dumb slapstick comedy movies. Like
They're not for everyone.
True.
I don't even know the name of it. This is how bad it is. Like, so just name me like a few like
Hangover. Bridesmaid.
Yeah, like that. Well, Bridesmaids is not bad.
Okay.
But like Hangover, like stuff like that is like I don't get it. I don't know.
I will say this
Dumb
because
and Dumber. Are you a Dumb and Dumber fan?
I mean, it's not like the worst. I've seen it.
that was fun. Okay, I will say this because I've heard what you've heard. Best movie ever. You gotta watch it. I watched Hangover. I felt nothing. I felt like dead inside. It was terrible. So I understand.
Yeah.
I will be getting flack too, probably.
I don't know. I like to be like more mentally stimulated when I watch movies in general. But.
Yes.
If you could be a guest star in any movie / television show or of the like, what would it be?
Can I be like in the ring where I'm just like the girl with the koozie?
if that's what,
like then you don't even have to see my face, right? It's just like
no, like guess. I mean, like more like what world would you want to live in?
Oh,
any
oh my
world
God,
would you
no!
want to live in?
Oh, that's a really awesome
Okay.
question.
That's
See,
cool.
now when you phrase it that way, like
Yes.
everything, like I would love to be, and this is okay. I love like space movies. So like one of my like, I mean, Star Wars is great, but like actually one of my favorite like TV shows from before is like Farscape. like that series of stuff. And I love like the MCU universe, Marvel universe, or whatever, right? Where it's like I love all the like Guardians of the Galaxy and like like Thor kind of movies, because it's like all about like things bigger than us. So I think I like to think like the concepts that apply in the world, like outside of the physical realm that we kind of live in currently, like, and the concepts that exist in space are like way like more infinite, right? So I think like being in a world where, especially like even like stuff like Harry Potter, right, where you think like there's magic, and like I think being in worlds like that where it's like, you know, like dystopian kind of stuff is like totally my favorite genres of movies, and like being in any kind of dystopian world would be like awesome, I think.
See, the funny thing is, in theory, if we're all in Harry Potter world, we'd probably all have wands and cast spells. But then there'd be a guy we can't even talk about. He's so deadly. See, that's the thing about that, right? Like if I lived in MCU, which would be fun, there's also guys like Obadiah Stane and all that. So it's a hard call for me. Like okay, Jurassic Park. I would pay serious money to see a real dinosaur. But those guys almost got eaten, or they did get eaten. Like that's the other half of that coin, right? So hard call.
Have you determined what the best song is?
Ooh.
We're on the top of the world, the Juliana Theory, because it's like such a good, happy, feel good song.
Okay, I like it. I like it.
If you know it,
Is that the Coca-Cola bottle commercial? I think I have the wrong song. I think I have the wrong song. Okay, I don't know that song. Can you sing us that song, please? No.
When does this turn into karaoke?
Oh boy, that's okay.
No, you can just like YouTube the Juliana Theory, or Top of the World.
Okay.
Top of the World. Right?
Yeah,
It's a good song. It's very catchy. It's upbeat.
Okay. Awesome.
Nice.
And then final question: do you have a question for us?
Who are you guys going to interview next?
Oh.
Well, you know this person, and I haven't quite confirmed it, but more than likely, I'm probably gonna get Jeff.
Okay, yeah, Jeff will be interesting.
That's what I was thinking. Not sure when. I haven't really confirmed anything yet. I am borrowing some equipment, so he's got to get it back. So I think that he'd be another interesting one.
And what about this particular topic of people who have like kind of alter egos? Are you guys interested in?
I wouldn't say alter egos. I mean, it's still you, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like we're gonna peel back the onion a little bit on the show here, right in the third segment. But I think that, well, me personally, I'm never gonna be a DJ. No, I mean, no. It's not gonna happen for me. I at this point in my life, you know, I'm one, I mean, no offense to you, I'm not interested in it that much, but I am interested enough to like really kind of get this, you know, get your story and everything like that. I think that's really cool. I realize that me personally, I'm not like, for many things, just like how I described the DJ thing, for many things that's true. I'm not going to go be a professional at a whole lot of things, but I am interested in trying to share that.
Yes.
So that, you know, for myself, like I find it very fascinating, you know, to hear that story, because there are a lot of things that you're talking about that even I can relate to. And even though you know, again, I'm not going to be a DJ, but there are aspects of that I really find interesting. And I feel that, that maybe there's an audience out there that would really find that interesting. And,
you know,
and Alvin just asked good questions.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Well, I had a friend before, and I think he was trying to insult me. He was saying, you can never teach Alvin too much. And I'm like, no, I'm going to own that, you know? So for me, it's like this. One, is it cool? DJing is cool. Two, do I not know enough about it? Yeah, I'd like to learn more about DJing. So there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And final question.
Oh, you had 3.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
Well,
Patrick.
fine.
You asked me just like 10 right now.
That's
so,
true.
I mean,
That's true.
Oh, that's perfectly fine.
Okay. Best song.
Oh, interesting. Go ahead, Chris. You go first.
No, wait. Are you saying I go first because you don't know, or
I don't know. I have to think for a second.
Okay. I off the top of my head. Wow. So I'm just gonna go with what first came to my mind because that's I'll Be Missing You.
Okay.
The
P. Diddy?
No, the Puff Daddy when the Notorious B.I.G. died.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
I
Good
don't know
message.
why that first popped into my head, but I thought it was very cool. I mean, the whole remix for one. And I thought the message was kind of cool. They dedicated that song.
Yes.
Notorious B.I.G. is huge, right? So they were in more than one way.
Yes.
But it was gonna happen. Like, he was such a big name that someone was gonna do it, and those guys were the ones to do it. It just sounds so good.
Okay,
Like
I get you.
I really like the Faith Evans. Like
Yes.
I really like the way that song flows.
Okay.
Is it really a greatest of all time? I don't know, but it was really the first when you said that popped into my head.
Right. Well, you know what? Like the thing about music is that it's so personal, and that's
True,
why,
that
like,
is
when you
true.
ask me, like, what's the worst song someone ever, like, requested, it's really hard for me to even say like it's this kind of thing, because I think for so many people, music is about like the memory and emotions that it evokes in you, and who's to like say that that's a bad thing to you? Like, why am I gonna go put down like your happy moment and
True.
in order for me to feel like like more powerful or whatever? So I kind of like like one of my music friends once asked me like, are there bad songs? And like we had this debate for like a
interesting.
full on hour where he was like, he believes that there's technically bad songs.
Okay.
And I was like, well,
Interesting.
Well, not to dive too far down the rabbit hole, but there's music theories, right?
Right.
So that's possible
Right.
Fascinating.
that within the realm of music theory, there could be bad songs that don't meet certain.
Interesting.
Right.
Like,
but
don't
you also have
check
like
off the
John
wickets.
Cage of like silence, right? 3 minutes of silence or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, like,
Fascinating.
is that technically music?
No, I mean, yeah, I agree in that there's something for everybody, right? So I kind of get what you're saying now with like, it's hard to say like someone awkwardly requested a song, maybe that because you didn't like it or
Right,
it doesn't resonate with you, but it might resonate with that person.
Yeah.
Maybe. Or maybe there's being a dick and just trying to like make you play something stupid. Maybe not.
Yeah.
But either way.
It dawns on me that, so I love stomp, like guys hitting trash cans, and I love that. But the reality is it's dudes hitting trash cans, which someone else would just call it noise. So I never even thought of that.
Yeah. I mean,
that
I
makes
play
sense.
my music all the time for other people and they're like, this is like the most repetitive,
Oh.
thing. But for me,
Well, you like it. Yeah,
I
yeah,
like
yeah,
it. And
yeah,
so,
totally.
like to each their own, different strokes for different folks. And I'm all about that. So I kind of tend not to say something is bad. I mean, I think there's ways to critique it,
Yes.
in your opinion of ways you think it can be better. But my opinion's not God for sure. Even if you are a DJ, your opinion's not God on music.
Okay, I can't not answer this, so this will be fun.
Go ahead.
This is a very meta answer.
That's fine.
Okay. I don't remember the title. It's probably called War, but this is the one, What Is It Good For? No, wait. The one that goes, Oh, my father, father. Okay. I'm not going to sing. I think it's a good call to not be singing on the mic right now. That's the one where something happened, and I don't remember what it was. I'm going to say it was a huge earthquake overseas, and then they got all these huge names together. I don't remember what it was. Do you know that? Like a Band-Aid or whatever. I forgot what it was called. That thing. Do you know that?
So the only thing that rings a bell when you say that is "We Are the World."
I think that's the one. But there's
So-
two though. But yeah, they redid that with like Britney Spears' age. Then there's also the Paul McCartney one.
Yeah,
See what I mean?
There's an old one, "We Are the World."
Okay.
and there was a redone, but it was the same song.
Oh, I think I have the wrong song. But yes,
Yeah,
see, so that's why.
the only thing I can think of, like
Okay.
for like where you're talking like a huge ensemble of different
Yes.
people.
Okay.
But that's that. I don't know if it definitely doesn't say war. It
Oh,
doesn't say,
I think I have the
or
wrong
father.
song.
Yeah, but
Okay,
yeah.
okay, but
But if you're talking about like a large ensemble of different
Yes.
musicians getting
Yes.
together to sing the song, yeah, "We Are the World" is
okay. See, so that's more meta. It's not quite just the song. It's everyone else. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's like a supreme pizza. You like pepperoni? It's in there. You like bell peppers? That's in there too. So there you go. That's kind of a cheating answer. I feel like that's like everyone.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
But
like,
that was nice. It was a good.
well, the
reasoning.
word best can mean anything. It
True,
doesn't have to be
yes.
like
True, true,
best
true.
musically, best lyric. You
Right.
know, like
Yes.
best because it's associated with a movement. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good movie. Yeah.
Actually, your reference to like, people bringing all these famous artists together to collab and stuff, that reminded me of like actually one of my favorite live performances in the last year. So I'm sure you guys heard about like Ariana Grande's concert
Yeah,
in
oh, that was
Manchester,
sad,
right?
yeah.
Where like she had the the bombing thing, and then
Yep.
so like she threw this benefit concert in Manchester again to like raise funds and awareness for the people who were like hurt.
Yes.
I can't remember what the name of it was called, but like I remember for like the very last song of that that concert, she brought on the Black Eyed Peas and
wicked.
like a few different like people who like she had art performed on the stage, and they sang "Where's the Love,"
Oh, there
and that
you
was
go.
like literally
Yeah.
such a powerful like
Yeah.
moment in like
Nice.
TV history. And I just
There you
remember
go,
like,
yeah.
man, this girl is like awesome, you
Yes.
know, like for doing that kind of thing, especially
Yes.
like after herself being like she thought she wouldn't perform again after that, right? This is the first performance she had after that incident. So I thought that was like a super cool moment in history. And that's kind of like why I love like, music stuff, is because like you can kind of unite under kind of all this stuff, bad things.
Absolutely.
That's a good moment. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah.
Well, that is a perfect perfect bit to end the show on. Julesjuke, thank you very much for being on with us today. If anyone on the internet wanted to listen to any of your stuff, do you have anything, anywhere that they could find you at?
Yeah. So I'm at soundcloud.com/julesjuke. I'm at facebook.com/julesjuke. Anywhere you can find my name, Julesjuke.
Nice.
It's more or less I'm there. But yeah, thanks guys for having me on.
And with that, everyone, thank you for listening to the How's It Cousins podcast, the show where we take a look at the unique people of the world and the crazy things they do. We talk about it, we relate to it, we hopefully relate that to you, the listener, so you can feel what we're feeling about this. But either way, we have a great time. If you like what you hear, you can check it out on all the popular podcast services, iTunes, Stitcher, all the like. If you want more of us, we're part of the How's It Network. Go to howsitnetwork.com. You can see all the other cool stuff that we're doing. Take a look at our social media sites. Follow us at How's It Network on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Please take a look at our socials. That's where you find a whole lot about us.
And if you like the Alvin-y goodness, you can find more at alohalvin.com. It's a home for writers, but hey, I write just like how I speak. So you'll definitely enjoy that too.
And if you want to find me, the best place is on Twitter at How's It Chris. You'll find most of the stuff I'm trying to do there. Hopefully there's some stuff up there as of me saying this and you reading it, but hey, who knows? One more time, thank you again for lending us your ears. And don't forget, it's not goodbye.